to Community Hotline. I'm Monica Weitzel, and we're here in Gresham at MetroEast Community Media. Now we're going to be talking with Volunteers of America. And with us to represent Volunteers of America, I have Julio Iniguez, who is the clinician at Volunteers of America, and Nate Peterson, you are a gambling mentor, correct?
I am, yes.
So Volunteers of America has a lot of programs. You do a lot of amazing things. Can one of you tell me just a little brief history of why this organization was started and what some of the things are that you do in the community?
Well, Volunteers of America was founded 119 years ago, roughly thereabouts, and it was all voluntary at that time, and really to help those that needed, that didn't have, but the have-nots, so to speak.
Okay.
And it began as a purely voluntary mission, and over the years it spread out, where now it's a lot of volunteers, but professionals as well.
Right, right.
And Volunteers of America, Oregon, we're part of the national, but we are a separate entity here in the state.
So you have several different programs though, correct?
Yes.
Tell me, just name a few of them if you can. What are some of the issues that you work on in the community?
A lot of it is community family, working with a lot of men and women that are incarcerated, coming out back into society.
That's got to be tough.
Obviously, alcohol, drugs, substance abuse use, again, family care, and of course, problem gambling.
So the things that can get you incarcerated, or the things that can mess up family life, those are a lot of the things you're
and a lot of prevention as well. There's a lot that I probably am forgetting as well.
Right. I didn't expect you to know all of it.
So ENACT is basically the building which we work out of. And so under that roof, we have the correctional counseling services, and then we have the community counseling services. So for the correctional side, we have the Stop Court program, the Start Court program. These are people that are going through the criminal justice system and have chosen to rehabilitate themselves. So in search for a better life, and so they come in for counseling and they come in for groups.
Are these people that are going into incarceration, or just coming out, or what?
There's
where are they in that?
Programs for both. So there's people that have just like a DUI to people that have had like felony theft.
Okay.
So it goes the whole gamut. People coming out of prison. So it really the whole
spectrum.
The whole spectrum of people on that side of it. So we're part of the problem gambling services, and so that is part of the community counseling services. And so there we have our program, which is problem gambling, and then we also have the Adelante program. And the Adelante program is a culturally specific program where we work with Latinos, and all the services are in Spanish.
Okay, good.
So along with that, we also have open services, which is something that's new to ENACT, and that's a program where we're having people paper service, so we're taking insurance, we're taking OHP.
Oh, okay.
And so that's for people that are coming in with issues, either mental health or alcohol and drug.
Okay, good. Well, obviously there's a lot of need in the community for all of those services, but you're both involved with the gambling addiction side of it. So as a clinician, Julio, what exactly is your job there?
So my job, I'm a marriage and family therapist,
okay.
and I'm also a certified gambling addictions counselor. So what I do is I provide individual counseling, I provide family therapy, and I provide group counseling for people that are coming in that are dealing with gambling addiction, or people who love someone who has a gambling addiction.
Oh, okay.
So
kind of like an Al-Anon thing where, if I have somebody in my family who has got an addiction, I can seek help for myself on how to live with that or deal with that, or?
Right, it's addiction affects the whole family.
Yeah, it sure
and
does.
And so, absolutely. And so everybody needs support, right? Whether it's the person working through their addiction or, someone who is part of the family that's either dealing with enabling behaviors or is just dealing with so much stress because of the pressure that addiction can bring into a family.
Okay.
So
that makes sense.
As part of the problem gambling services, the treatment is free, right? It's paid for by the state of Oregon.
Okay.
And so what happens is it's paid for the people that are suffering from the gambling addiction as well as family members. So either one can come in and start receiving all types of services through us.
And so where do you come in as a mentor?
Well, mentor is kind of a new role that's been developed over the last couple of years in the state of Oregon. And one of the original certified gambling recovery mentors. And what that means is I'm in long-term recovery from a severe gambling addiction, just over 6.5 years.
Wow, and good for you.
But I've been involved as an advocate and in this in the mentoring process over the last about 6 years, actually. So the mentoring about 2 or 3 years, but part of
That probably helps
advocating.
keep you.
Yes. So
keeps you
one of my
strong
other
too,
roles
huh?
is I'm the educational outreach director, coordinator
Okay.
for problem gambling services. So speaking to high-risk groups, speaking to professionals, bringing about awareness, understanding of problem gambling and its effects on individuals, the family, the community
Wow.
as a
Okay.
whole.
You provided us 11 roles of the recovery mentor. So these are, tell me what that means. These are all the things that you do as a mentor?
Right. So different than the counselor has their role in really dealing with the therapeutic process
Right.
of recovery, where the mentor is more of the hands-on, so to speak.
Like motivator and cheerleader, I think it says
Right.
the first one.
Be
so.
inspirational, hopeful. Because here's somebody that these clients are working with that sees that I was where they were at, and now they see, oh, there is hope. I don't
That's a
have to
role
live
model.
this way.
Right, somebody
And be a
that's been there.
cheerleader, pat them on the back.
Yeah.
Confidant. Sometimes it's easier for them to talk to somebody who's had that experience
Right,
and open up in the beginning. And I can help build that bridge of communication and trust with the client and the counselor as well.
Right.
And then truth teller is
You just call them on their stuff. Is that kind of what you?
with
what
lots
that
of
means?
empathy and
Yeah,
compassion
yeah.
and understanding.
But sometimes that's what it takes. I know.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. And role model, obviously walking the
Right.
talk, so to speak. Help them, so be a problem solver by living in the solution.
There you go.
And that I live this recovery lifestyle.
that it can be a happy lifestyle. You can get through it and
Yeah, exactly. Community organizer, that's just knowledge and going out in the community and doing a lot of advocacy work and helping them get involved if they so wish to do so. Resource broker, so I know.
you know who to connect them to if they need.
Absolutely.
help. Okay.
Absolutely. Advocate. That's
pretty
something I will speak to the Lottery Commission. I speak openly in public about this and put a face on gambling, so to speak,
Yeah.
to bring again more awareness and education. A friend. So I'm available. Like they can call me.
Yeah.
9 o'clock at night.
They can call you at home, huh?
I got a gentleman call me last night at 9. He was
Really?
really struggling with urges, cravings. He was getting paid today. And he just,
yeah. That's a
just
trigger,
needed
I'm
somebody
sure.
to talk to. Kind
Good.
of
Yeah.
change our thinking. And then as a transitional sponsor, so to speak, maybe in the 12-step tradition, being there to kind of help them work through the process, but without fostering dependence where they need, there has to be boundaries,
Yeah.
right? And to help continue to motivate them through the process.
It's kind of a heavy load to carry sometimes, I would think.
It's
know,
a
to
lot,
be-
and not all of that is happening at one time,
Yeah,
of course.
well, that would be a lot. That would be way too much. But yeah, so how many people would you mentor at any one time? I mean,
Well, I'm kind of a freelancer, right?
Yeah.
So I don't actually have like a primary caseload.
so there may be somebody you talk to frequently and somebody that just every once in a while or only once.
Right. So some individuals are really struggling, and those are the people that I'm really going to reach out to and try and connect with, and bring about, hopefully, to meet with out and get them maybe to look for some outside community support as well as coming in for services. But also something I do is try and schedule an appointment with all our clients at least once or twice, just to touch base with them and see how see how it's
Let
going.
them know that you're available.
Right.
Okay.
But
good.
I will work hand in hand with the counselors for certain individuals that really need that extra layer, so to speak,
Right.
of support and commitment.
That sounds really important, Nate. Julio, how long have you been with Volunteers of America? Have you been there a while?
It's been just about a year now.
Just about a year
Yeah.
now. Okay. I was going to say, I was wondering how that mentor relationship, how does that affect your job? Do you find that helpful to be able to?
Oh, it's super
refer
helpful,
people,
yeah.
yeah.
Because Nate joined the team, I think it was in January. And so I had been working there since July. And so one of the things as a counselor that you find is the relationship between a counselor and a client is very much just about the client. So I don't really get to bring in a lot of my personal experience in terms of the work that we're doing together. I'm really
Right.
helping them explore their relationships to their gambling, their relationships to other addictive processes, their relationships to their family, their communities,
Right.
and looking at, what's kind of out of balance there and what kind of they need to do in order to get their life back to where they want it to be.
Right.
So that comes with some limitations, and some of those would be like, I can't go out into the community and meet with someone, right?
Yeah.
I can't really talk about my own, personal experiences with them unless it's
Right.
therapeutically appropriate. So there are limits in the type of relationship that, counselors are able to have with their clients. And so what Nate or any mentor provides is a bridge, right? So what Nate's able to do is all the things that the counselors can't do. So he can talk about his recovery. He can really get hands-on. He can really go meet somebody out, in the community when they're really struggling.
Right.
And so him being a part of problem gambling services, there's been several times where I have clients where I know that as a counselor, my role doesn't allow me to give them the support that they need.
Right.
And
But
so I have someone who I can be like, well, I have the perfect person for you to talk to. And he can actually meet you in the community, and he can provide the relief that you're looking for in this moment.
That's wonderful. That working in tandem like that is great.
So maybe just meeting for a cup of coffee and just talking about what's going on, not necessarily about what they're doing in their treatment, right? Life stuff. Taking them maybe to a 12-step meeting.
Sure.
Because maybe they're just
Sometimes
not
it's
comfortable
hard to
going by
get in there.
themselves
Yeah,
at first,
yeah,
and kind
yeah.
of introducing them with that, and just
being there.
being there and being honest, saying, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah,
Let's get back on let's pick
Get back
ourselves
on
up,
track.
dust ourselves off, and get going.
So we don't have a whole lot of time, but I know that there's some people don't know that I imagine most people know they have a gambling addiction if they do, but they may not really admit it. But what about other family members? How do you know if somebody has a gambling addiction?
Well, there's definite signs to look for.
You brought a screening thing. You brought something about
That's a
screening. Is that what
basic.
that
That's a
is
basic screen that
So-
is used in assessments. When people are when maybe screening somebody. It's a very basic one, the LIBET tool.
So that
So the first question is, have you ever had to lie to people important to you about your gambling? And the second is, do you feel the need to bet more and more money? So answering yes to either one of those would suggest that you should
that there is a possible problem.
further assessing on that. But really, some signs to look for is time that's unaccounted for by an individual, bank statements that maybe aren't being open to you or whatnot.
Okay.
But really, you got to look for that time. What's going on? Usually, there's missing time with the family or reasons why they can't do something.
Right, and it could be gambling. It could be something else, but it's obviously a kind of a red flag.
It's a red flag indeed.
So before we wrap up, tell me how do people get to you? Are they referred to you? Do they come of their own volition?
People are referred to us by the Oregon Problem Gambling Helpline.
Okay.
And so the number for that is 877-MY-LIMIT.
Oh,
And
that's
so
easy to remember.
people call that number, and so they're able to get connected to whichever service provider is closest to them.
Great.
So this is a helpline that is run out of Salem, and so they will get the person in contact with whoever works closest to them, and that's usually who we get most of our referrals from.
Okay.
The East community.
Okay. And so and a family member who is affected by gambling could also call this number.
Absolutely.
Great. So it's 1-800-MY-LIMIT?
877.
877, thank you.
MY-LIMIT.
MY-LIMIT, okay, great. We're just about out of time. We're going to close with a public service announcement that was actually done here at MetroEast a while
Awesome.
back. And I appreciate you coming on to talk about a very serious subject, but it sounds like there's help for people that have gambling
Absolutely,
addictions.
there
and
is
for their
help.
families too.
And I just want to say real quickly, that recovery can and will happen, and the treatment's there and it works.
It does.
Absolutely.
Thank you. You're living proof of that.
Thank you.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you for having us.
You bet. Thanks for watching this segment of Community Hotline. If you have a problem with gambling, you have a family member or know someone who does, now you know how to take that first step to deal with it. And don't go away. We'll be right back with more of Community Hotline. Nice.
Hello, I'm David Corse from the Volunteers of America Oregon Problem Gambling Program, and March is Problem Gambling Awareness Month. Gambling comes in many different shapes and sizes and can be highly addictive. What is problem gambling? More than 74,000 Oregonians have a problem with gambling. Their gambling is having a major impact on their daily life, be it psychological, physical, social, or vocational. When gambling takes over your life, the outcomes can be devastating to you and your community, be it bankruptcy, domestic violence, divorce, crime, or substance abuse. When gambling becomes a problem, there's hope. Free help is available in Multnomah County through the VOA Gambling Services Program. Call the number on your screen if you need help. Treatment is confidential and it works. Say no to problem gambling.
Coming here to shoot my documentary was more than I ever would have dreamed of doing.
This is a community media station.
It was phenomenal.
Ready, camera one.
What is it about this place that makes so many different people come together?
Ready, camera two.
Very professional, experienced people.
You can use these industry standard pieces of equipment.
Ready, camera three. Take three.
You don't have to be rich to do this.
Open people's eyes to something they've never even thought of before.
Cool stuff happens. It becomes this community.
That's going to really change who's telling the stories and who's controlling the messaging.